The St. Louis Zoo is consistently ranked as a top 10 zoo in the nation, coming in at the #1 spot in 2017 and 2018. So here are 5 things that make the St. Louis Zoo and Forest Park unique. Take a visit to the elephants and you can experience the sight of 4 generations of elephants of the same family in the same exhibit. Ever since the new baby elephant named Jet was born, this is the only exhibit anywhere in the US that you can experience a baby elephant with their parent, grandparent, and great-grandparent, making this truly a rare sight. And the zoo is completely free. It is one of the few free zoos in America, and the only free zoo listed in any of these top-ranked zoo lists. In 1916, a vote in St. Louis was passed to fund the zoo with property tax money, making it the first community-funded zoo in the world. And this continued into the 70s with the current Museum Zoo Tax District, which now uses property tax money collected from the residents of the city and the county to fund the zoo. And also the History Museum, and the Art Museum, and the Science Center, and the Botanical Gardens. And even though we pay for it in taxes, the business generated in community engagement was estimated to be $500 million in economic impact and provide 5,000 jobs. Since it was the first plant of its kind, it was so successful. Many cities around the country now try to model their cultural tax zones around St. Louis's model. And like most things St. Louis, everything comes back to the World's Fair. Because of course it does. The St. Louis Zoo got its start after the 1904 World's Fair, when this giant bird cage, or aviary, was such a popular attraction during the World's Fair that the citizens of St. Louis decided to buy it from the Smithsonian in DC, instead of the Smithsonian dismantling it and bringing it back to DC. So for a handful of years, this was the zoo, but it was still extremely impressive because at the time it was the largest birdcage built in the world. But you can still walk through it today as a piece of history that still exists from the fair. At the St. Louis Zoo, you can ride a train that takes you everywhere in the zoo. And the train is a modern day replica of the CP Huntington, which is one of the most iconic trains that comes from the early steam engine days of America. This is the train that inspired the incredibly popular children's book, The Little Engine That Could. And number 5, the previous director of the St. Louis Zoo, Marlin Perkins, he was the original host of the show Wild Kingdom on Animal Planet. He shaped the zoo into much of what it is today, and you can still see a statue of him today in the zoo, and the sculpture was made by Bob Castley, the creator of City Museum. I hope you learned some new things about our beautiful zoo. Check back in for more St. Louis content.